The sound of a beagle close up doing something it had never done before is the kind of sound a parent never forgets. It doesn't fit. It doesn't belong in the morning. It belongs in the part of your memory you don't talk about. Michelle heard it at 6:47 on a Tuesday. She was standing in the kitchen of a brick house in rural Tennessee, holding a coffee that had already gone cold, and she heard Duke, their beagle close-up of 4 years, making a noise she could not name. She set the cup down. She told herself it was nothing. She had been a pediatric nurse for 9 years, and she had spent enough mornings telling herself things were nothing to know what it sounded like when she didn't believe herself. She walked toward the sound. In the living room, Beagle pressed against Toddler's leg. Duke was leaning forward, weight shifted toward Olivia, and the Beagle close-up would not stop. Michelle's 2-year-old was on the carpet, his face turned slightly away, one small fist near his knee. He was not crying. He was not laughing. He was just there, and Duke was doing this thing she had never seen before. She called Duke's name. The Beagle close-up did not move. She called again. Nothing. She crossed the room and lifted Olivia into her arms. Duke followed, not aggressive, not threatening, just following, close, eyes locked on her son's face, breath slightly too fast. She told herself it was a phase. She told herself dogs got strange sometimes. She told herself she had seen worse in her years working with families, and that this was a behavior she would correct, gently, the way she corrected everything, with patience, with structure, with the calm professional voice she used at work. She did not know yet that Duke was the only one in the room who understood what was happening. By mid-morning, the behavior had repeated 3 times. Duke would settle, then return. Duke would lie down, then rise and come back. Michelle watched from the kitchen and felt the slow accumulation of a feeling she did not want to name. Her professional brain, the brain that had read hundreds of charts and seen the slow tells of children whose bodies were quietly going wrong, kept whispering something her mother brain refused to hear. It was the Beagle close-up. It had to be the Beagle close-up. She called Steve. He picked up on the second ring. She told him what she had seen. She heard her own voice, measured, clinical, the voice she used when she was about to tell a parent something they did not want to hear. And she realized the parent she was telling was herself. "Maybe we need to keep them separated," he said. "Just until we know," she agreed. She could feel the door closing as she said it. She could feel the part of her that had loved this Beagle, close up for 4 years, stepping back to let the part of her that was a mother make the decision. By noon, Duke was outside. The afternoon was quiet. Olivia ate. Olivia napped. Michelle stood at the window and watched Duke pace the back patio in slow, deliberate lines, never taking eyes off the door. She told herself this was the right thing. She told herself she had done what any responsible parent would do. She told herself the certainty she felt was earned by training and years and credentials. She was wrong about all of it. At 2:14 in the afternoon, Olivia stopped breathing. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was the way real emergencies arrive. The way her training had told her they always arrived, quietly, while you are looking at the half-charged phone on the nightstand, while you are folding a small pair of socks, while you are halfway through a thought about dinner. She heard Duke first. Not from outside, from the patio door. The Beagle close-up was hitting the glass with a force that did not belong to a 4-year-old family pet. It was the sound of an animal that had decided the door no longer applied. She turned. She looked at her son, and then she ran. What happened next? She would tell the paramedics, then the doctor, then the specialist on call, and then, months later, a researcher who had been studying exactly this. Each time she told it, she would leave out the part where she had locked Duke outside. Each time she would feel the same heat rise behind her eyes. The doctor who finally explained it was a young woman with quiet hands. She used the words KA001 on a printed sheet of paper. She said Olivia had been showing the earliest signs of something invisible to a parent's eye, but unmistakable to a creature whose entire world is scent. She said dogs had been documented detecting this kind of change as much as 45 minutes before any human instrument could. She said another 9 minutes, and the conversation would have been very different. Michelle did not cry in the hospital. She cried in the car. She cried opening the back gate, where Duke was still standing, still watching, still doing the only job he had ever assigned himself. She knelt on the cold concrete of the patio. She did not say much. She said his name, and she did not say it twice. Duke hesitated. Then he stepped forward, pressed his forehead against her shoulder, and exhaled. That night, she watched him circle the crib 3 times before lying down beside it, the way he always had, the way she had stopped seeing. She did not stop him. She never stopped him again. Later that night, after the hospital, after the second round of tests, after the specialist had repeated the words she could not yet say out loud, Michelle stood in the doorway of her son's room and watched. Duke was at his usual post, half on the rug, half on the cool wood of the floor, facing the crib at an angle that took in both the door and the window. He was not asleep. He had not been asleep in hours. She did not know if he would sleep tonight. She did not know if he had slept any of the nights,